Ed Ramirez. I'm the Director of Business Resources and Professional Development for the Morris County Economic Development Corporation under the leadership of Megan Huncher, our president. So this course has been offered by the EDC, and I pray that you will find it beneficial because it will change your business perspective. It will create effectiveness. It will help you to lead your people and how to guide them through the process of emotional intelligence. We've noticed that many companies have a lot of employees that have IQ but lack EQ, how to deal with people effectively in order to get people to work for your organization and to produce and to increase your bottom line. So today we're going to discuss 10 ways your emotional intelligence can increase. We're going to go step by step on the PowerPoint. So let me get there real. Okay, 10 ways to increase your emotional intelligence. According to Dr. Abby Gohar 2020, emotional intelligence continues to increase in importance among peers and an evolving workplace. Emotional intelligence is not a trend, but statistical proof that employees with emotional intelligence undoubtedly affect the bottom line. In fact, companies with employees that have high levels of emotional intelligence see major increases in total sales and productivity. The more an organization works on increasing their emotional intelligence skills, the less turnover and lack of effectiveness they will see. We get often from employers, I don't know what's going to motivate my team. Right now, we're in the season of COVID, many people working from home. What is going to motivate them? What is going to encourage them? And sometimes the problem comes from leadership and leadership lacking emotional intelligence and how to deal with their teams in an effective way to keep your team motivated, to keep your team encouraged, and keep your team engaged in the vision and mission for your organization. Assertive style of communication. Number one, assertiveness. It is important that assertive communication goes a long way toward earning respect without coming across as too aggressive or too passive. Emotionally intelligent people know how to communicate their opinions and needs in a direct way while still respecting others. Don't beat around the bush. If something is bothering you or you desire to get something done, then you must put into practice candor. Communicate to be heard and to be understood while being honorable and being respectful. Candor, the quality of being open and honest and expression, frankness. One of the things that I've noticed in leaders, especially in today's environment, we are working in an environment that people are easily offended. I tell leaders, be assertive in your communication. Communicate with assurance of what you're saying and what you want. An assertive style is one that moves to get things done, not with doubt, not with fear, but utilizes candor. Be honest, be frank with your team. There's a way of communicating to your team if they're not doing what needs to be done without causing offense, but being very honest about what you expect and being very honest about what you need in order to get your organization moving forward. A leader that is not assertive in communication is a leader that will not get things done because they will not gain the respect of those that follow them. Remember, you're the leader. You've been appointed with the mission and the vision of your organization. It is important that your communication is clear, and it is also important that your communication will correct the team when the team needs correction and will lead the team when the team needs to be led. A leader that is not clear or assertive in communication allows the team to go astray or allows the team to assume what they feel is most important for the organization. Remember, you're the leader. You have to be assertive. You have to communicate the vision and the mission and not fluctuate in what you say and how you say it. Mean what you say and say what you mean. And use candor. If your team is not performing well or your team is not accomplishing the tasks that are necessary to help your bottom line, then it's very important for you with assertiveness to communicate your displeasure and then to work with them to find solutions. As a leader, never put out a problem and not give your team the solutions or ideas how to get issues resolved. So number one, assertive communication. Number two, respond instead of reacting to conflict. Do you want to resolve or just to be heard? This is important. During instances of conflict, emotional outbursts and feelings of anger are common. The emotionally intelligent person knows how to stay calm during stressful situations. They don't make impulsive decisions that can lead to even bigger problems. They understand that in times of conflict, the goal is a resolution. And they make a conscious choice to focus on ensuring that their actions and words are in alignment with that. I use an equation. The equation is events plus response equals outcome. Most problems are increased by a response that has not been analyzed first. Do not be reactive. One of the things that I ask leaders is, are you responding because your feelings are hurt? Or are you responding because you really want to find a resolution to your issue or to your problem? There's a difference. When you're a leader, you have to understand that you're constantly going to face conflict, and emotional outbursts are not only going to affect you and maybe one employee. Emotional outbursts can affect you and affect those around you. So it's very important that you put into practice the equation, events. Events are going to come into your life. Events just happen. We wake up in the morning, and whether it's a flat tire or your car didn't turn on, or like us the other day, the lights did not turn on, you don't know what event you're going to face on a daily basis because events just show up. However, what you do have control is how you're going to respond to those events. It is so important that when you respond with an eye on the outlook, because the outcome is vital. How you respond to a situation today will have long-term effects. It will not only affect the here and now, but how you respond can affect the future. That's why it's so important for a leader, before you respond, even if it's a difficult situation, even if the conflict wants you to blow up, go to the outcome. What outcome do you want? What do you want to come out of this conversation? What is the resolution? What do you recommend to improve the communication, to improve the relationship, to improve the output, and to improve the bottom line? Remember that as a leader, you have to think first, and I tell people, think 10 times and respond once. Because once you speak as the leader, that decision carries weight on it. And if that decision comes out with an outburst, then the negative consequences can be greater than the positive that can come out of it. So a leader, instead of reacting, you must ask yourself, how do I respond to this conflict? Because reaction is easy. We get upset, we can react, but is that reaction going to give us the best outcome for the organization or the best outcome for the relationship? So I tell leaders all the time, take a breather. If you're in the middle of a conflict, if it's the middle of a difficult situation, use the equation, events you can't control. However, how you respond will always give you an outcome. Positive or negative, your response is going to give you an outcome because the outcome is the reaction to that response. So then, what do? You think of the future. I think of, if I respond this way, what's going to be my outcome? If I act this way, what's going to be the outcome? And when you look at the outcome and you look into the future, then you're able to come back and make adjustments. And it is in times of making those adjustments that you control your destiny. Remember, your destiny is not in your decision right now. Your destiny is found in the outcome of the decision you make right now. So it's so important that as a leader, you learn to go to the outcome. What do I want out of this? What are the results that I'm looking for? What is it that I can get out of this that's going to advance the team, advance the relationship forward? So if you put this into practice, and I put it into practice as a professional for many years now, events plus response equals outcome. Your destiny is not happening. Your destiny is being managed and is being controlled by you as the leader. So again, don't be reactive, be proactive. So respond to conflict instead of reacting to conflict. Very important, number 2. Let's go to number 3. Utilize active listening skills. I want you to write this one down. Utilize active listening skills. In conversation, emotionally intelligent people listen for clarity instead of just waiting their turn to speak. They make sure they understand what is being said before responding. They also pay attention to the nonverbal details of a conversation. This prevents misunderstandings, allows the listener to respond properly, and show respect for the person they are speaking to. When engaging in a conversation, stop the distractions. Please, if you're about to engage in a conversation with someone, put this thing away. This thing is not in the room. This thing is a distraction, and this thing can become very disrespectful to effective communication. One thing I've learned, put my phone aside, look at you directly in your eyes, and pay attention. Give you my full attention because I'm listening to understand. I'm listening not just to respond. I'm listening because I want full comprehension of what you're feeling and what you are communicating. I'm trying to get into your shoes. I'm using empathy and I'm using clear communication. So when engaging in a conversation, stop the distractions. Put down your cell phone and give them reflective listening over passive listening. If you cannot give someone your full attention, then do not engage in a conversation and cause a reason for offense. You cannot respond when your brain only processes 30 to 40% of the conversation. Be an active listener. To listen, to learn, and become informed and not just respond. You know what happens because we're so distracted. I used to do that. I used to be guilty of that. And you bring great offense to your team. Your team is talking to you in your office. They're telling you, we have something important coming, but you've got messages coming in. So you're like, yeah, do it. Yeah, go and do that. And then you come back and ask your team, why did you do that? And your team looks at you, we discussed this in your office. Oh, I don't remember. You don't remember because you were using passive listening and not reflective listening. In other words, you were not engaged in the communication. If you want your relationships to grow and you want your business to become effective, then it is important to put aside all distractions when it comes time to communication, and you give that person the respect they deserve through reflective listening. Don't ever book yourself so much that you have to be on the cell phone or on your computer responding when you're engaging with someone that's in front of you. Learn how to communicate and shut everything down. The world is not going to end if you don't respond in the next 3 minutes. My friend, we've been so programmed by these cell phones that we think we're communicating and we're not, because we're giving everybody a piece of our attention, but not our whole attention. And most of us are guilty of it. We wake up, we're looking at social media. We're not paying attention to the person in the room because we're paying attention to someone that's not in the room and someone that might not be directly engaged with us because we're looking at their social media page or we're looking at their message. Learn how to set times aside. I've learned that when I'm engaging in communication, I'm going to give you my full attention or nothing. And then, after I finish the conversation, I will look at my cell phone and go quickly, what's important and what's not. What is business? What is family? What's going to advance me? What is going to throw me off on a loop? When you learn to manage your communication with effectiveness, and you learn to prioritize, and you learn to be present, one of the things that is affecting a lot of people with COVID-19 is that you're in the house, but you're not present. You're not communicating. You're not working on the effectiveness of your communication. So it's imperative, it's important that when you communicate, part of communication, or the biggest part of communication, is not speaking, but it's listening, it's absorbing, it's preparing your response that's going to give you the outcome that you're looking for. All right? So that's super, super important. Number 3, utilize active listening skills. Now, let's go to number 4, be motivated. Be motivated. I tell you, when you're in business, you will realize sometimes that nobody's going to motivate you. That sometimes you got to motivate yourself. Emotionally intelligent people are self-motivated, and their attitude motivates others. They set goals, are resilient in the face of challenges. They are always looking for the positive outcome, even when the outcome does not look good. Dr. Wayne Dyer used to say something that impacted my life while I was going through grad school. If we change the way we look at things, the things we look at change. Our greatest challenge is being open to finding the positive in most negative situations, knowing that negativity / complaining never resolved a problem. Let's be motivated to find effective solutions that will advance us forward as people. I tell people, when you're motivated, don't allow negativity. Negativity not only messes around with your emotions. But negativity gets you frustrated without a resolution. Negativity never brings about solutions. But a motivated person acknowledges there is a problem. How do we resolve it? Let's come together as a team and find a resolution. One of the things that I put into practice, especially that I lead so many people, and I have thousands of followers on social media, and I have hundreds of followers at the Outreach Center, and as the business director of the Ramirez County Economic Development Corporation. One of the things that I'm always is motivated. I do not allow negativity around me. Now I listen to it. I've learned to become an active listener. I will sit there, I'll listen to the issues. And then what I begin to throw back at the team is, what's the solution? What do you recommend? What's going to improve us? What's going to make us better? Because we're in this together. The worst thing a leader could do is leave a negative situation negative. That's the worst thing we could do. Because what happens is people present it, or I say, people like to throw up on people. And as a leader, don't let the people throw up on you. And then you take it and you walk away without a solution. One of the things that I force my team is, there's a problem. I make note of this problem. But now I want to know your energy and your feedback to resolve this problem. What is it? What do you recommend we do to make things better? And then I listen, not to respond. I listen to understand. I listen to digest. Because sometimes there isn't a problem with the organization. When you listen, you might discover that the problem is in their personal lives. But because people don't know how to communicate, or they don't have the trust, because they don't know if my boss is going to have empathy or my boss is going to understand me. They're acting out of frustration, even in their personal home. But when you're frustrated, you find everything wrong. Have you ever been in a situation, even in yourself, if you're honest, and you learn how to hone your own feelings where everything bothers you, but you really don't know what's bothering you, but you're in a bad mood? And now because you're in a bad mood, you're blaming it on everything because you've not gotten down to the trigger. You know, one of the things that I tell leaders to stay motivated is this: find your triggers. Find what ticks you off. Find what gets you upset, what gets you sad. And when you see yourself getting to that level, motivate yourself to revert. I'm not going to let it get that far. I'm going to stay quiet because events plus response equals outcome. If I respond in frustration, then the outcome is not going to be good. But if I respond with a resolution, looking at the outcome and looking to resolve and looking to stay motivated and encouraged and pumped up and on fire, then that's going to reflect. So, number 4, be motivated, be emotionally invested as a leader to find resolutions, to look at the good. There's good in everything that we go through, or there's a lesson to be learned. What I've learned in life is I could look at the negatives and put myself down and say it was bad and I lost this, and or I could look at the positive and say, hey, that happened, but something good is going to come out of this. You know what? My energy is positive energy. You got to think about this. Einstein said, everything is energy. Nothing else, nothing less. Everything around us is energy. As a matter of fact, Einstein discovered the law of relativity. And he also discovered that each one of us has so much energy in us that if somebody opened our body, we would be able to light up a little city. And yet, many of us lack that energy and that enthusiasm because we're allowing negativity to short circuit us. So I've learned, find the good, stay motivated, stay happy, keep a smile on your face. Put positive quotes all over your room if you have to. Get around people that know how to light up your fire and know how to keep you motivated. Get around like-minded people. One of the things I've learned as a businessman, and I've learned as an executive, I've learned as a pastor, I've learned in different capacities that I've held, is I hang around with people that are motivational. When people want to stay negative, I'll give you the resolution and I'll work with you on a resolution and I work on you on change and positivity. But if the person chooses to stay negative, I back out of that situation, because positivity has an effect, but so does negativity. And if you stay in a negative environment where people don't want to change, don't want to find a resolution, it's going to affect your motivation. But if you stay around people that are positive and let's do it. I know the task is hard, but you know what? Let's get it done. And you put your hands to the plow and you're getting things resolved and you're getting things done and things are happening for your organization. And you get everybody pumped up and everybody's on fire, your organization becomes unstoppable. But if you allow the opposite, which is the negative, and they turn off your fire, and when you come in the room, there's such a heavy climate. Have you ever walked in the room and you say, man, I could feel the energy. The energy here is not good. Because we are energy. Inside of us, there's energy. So when you come in contact with like-minded energy, man, it's explosive. Man, we're going to succeed. We're going to make this thing work. But when you get around negative energy, it's like, oh boy, I want to get out of here. I want to get out of here. I feel uncomfortable. I don't feel good because they're pulling me down. So number 4, be motivated. Learn how to motivate yourself. If that's the gym, then go to the gym. If that's reading a book, then read a book. Educate yourself. Like I tell people, find something of interest and do that. And allow yourself to consistently be full of energy, full of power, because energy is transmitted. Who you are is transmitted. You could tell somebody's like telling somebody, I'm happy, but you got this face. Yeah, I'm excited. Yeah, I'm excited. Your body will speak what you're truly feeling. So when you are looking at people and you're an active listener, you're also looking at the body language. Because body language is going to talk to you. And it's going to tell you, they tell you that it's all right, but not everything is all right. So number 4, be motivated. Number 5, practice ways to maintain a positive attitude. Don't underestimate the power of your attitude. A negative attitude easily infects others if a person allows it to. Emotionally intelligent people have an awareness of the moods of those around them and guard their attitude accordingly. They know what they need to do in order to have a good day and an optimistic outlook. They know what they need to do in order to have a good day and an optimistic outlook. This could include having a great breakfast or lunch, engaging in prayer or meditation during the day, or keeping positive quotes at their desk or computer. Know your feelings, internalize them, and make a choice to change them. A negative attitude is like a cancer. It spreads until it kills relationships, intimacy, positivity, and destroys anything in its path. You can never get a positive outcome with a negative attitude being on full display. We attract the energy we give out, Dr. Wayne Dyer. One of the things that I've learned is that when you're motivated, when you practice a positive attitude, look, events plus response equals outcome. Situations are going to come your way. But a positive attitude takes every system in your body and changes it. I've learned to stay positive no matter negative reports I've received. I practice a positive attitude. And I ask myself, what can I learn from this? And then what I've learned is that when I take time for myself, you know, sometimes I tell my wife, I tell my children or my grandchildren, I need to diffuse. And by me saying I need to diffuse is I got to step back and I need time for myself. I need time to reflect. I need time for meditation, or I need time for prayer. I need time just to relax and get my thoughts together. Because the moment that you internalize, the moment that you catch yourself with a negative attitude, I know maybe nobody on this line has ever had a negative or a nasty attitude. You're always positive and you're bubbly and you're always excited. So maybe I'm not talking to any of you today, but I could talk about myself. Sometimes I don't have the best attitude. Sometimes I could see it. You know, somebody did something to me in the supermarket, or somebody crossed in front of me when I was driving, and you know, and sometimes we're all tempted to give people the number one finger. You know, I want to name you number one today. But then you got to ask yourself, your attitude, how is that going to affect everybody around you? It's like when couples start fighting, you know, as a minister, you know, I get the privilege of sometimes counseling couples, and it's awkward when they let loose in front of you and they're arguing back and forth and you're like, oh boy. And then you see the attitude, well, don't you talk to me. Oh, well, then it's like, oh, and then when the lips start snapping, I'm like, oh, Jesus, we're in trouble now. See, I tell people, when you learn how to internalize, you learn to practice a positive attitude. And I realized that attitude can be infused or diffused with positive communication. You know, my wife and I, we're celebrating 25 years married, 26 years together. And I always joke around with her and I say, you know, you're Mother Teresa, because to be married to me, God just gave me a gift. Because her attitude is always one of resolution. Okay, you don't like this, what you don't like. And I remember when we first got married and she would ask questions like that, I'm like, I don't like it. Okay, that's a broad statement. What is it that you don't like? And she would make me hone in. Like, okay, what exactly you don't like? Because sometimes when we're upset, we throw general statements. It's like the statement when somebody tells you, nobody at work likes me. Now, you know you're lying. Your company has 1,000 employees. I'm sure not all 1,000 know you. But in your mind, because of your attitude, you begin to say, nobody likes me in this corporation. The president doesn't know you. The vice president doesn't know you. The secretary doesn't even know you. But it's like we feel comfortable with broad statements. Nobody likes me. Everybody hates me. Everybody's against me. Okay, let's hone it in. Who's everybody? Okay, you're talking about your husband. One person. It's not everybody. Or you're talking about your mother-in-law. One person. So what I tell people is learn how to hone in and build a positive attitude. Look, some people are going to like you. Some people are not going to like you. One thing that I've realized in leadership is that when people don't like me, and I'm okay with that, you know, I'm still going to have a positive attitude. I'm still going to find the best way to engage. Or sometimes I'm going to disengage and go and have me some lunch. I'm going to stop and have me a sandwich, and I'm going to have me a good time, because I'm not going to let a negative situation ruin my attitude. So again, practice ways to maintain a positive attitude. And that might mean going to the gym, you know, working out, or punching a bag. You know, I got a punching bag and I train almost every other day. And sometimes I just go and punch the bag and let loose. But my attitude after that is awesome. See, you gotta find what's going to build in you a positive attitude, internalize. And like my wife used to say when we first got married, okay, you don't like that. What exactly you don't like? Boy, and that used to get me upset because I didn't have an answer. Because we respond in general terms. Everything upsets me, no, let's internalize. Because if we find the one thing that's bothering you and we're able to effectively communicate and maybe move that out of the equation, we're able to live a healthier and a better life and a better communication with our teams and help our teams be effective because we don't ruin the environment because we're in a bad mood. All right? So practice ways to maintain. That's number 5. We got 5 more to go. Practice self-awareness. Emotionally intelligent people are self-aware and intuitive. They are aware of their own emotions and how they can affect those around them. They also pick up on others' emotions and body language and use that information to enhance their communication skills. When you become aware of the climate in the room, you are able to change it by communication effectively in a positive and productive manner. It is so easy to see what is negative and speak about it. It is something else to see it, but make a choice that through positive communication, the environment will be changed, charged, and transformed by you. We are energy and capable of infusing it where a charge is needed. You are the charger to a dead cell phone, the environment. Get them plugged into your energy. You are the source. See, one of the things I realized is in being self-aware, I'm the cell phone charger. See, a lot of people think the most important part is this phone. And I disagree. Because this phone is totally ineffective without the wire that charges it. So what happens is that we don't realize that what the good Lord has provided us with is energy. So in reality, you are the charge in the room. So when you come in the room and you see that the spirit is dead, the energy is dead, the motivation is dead, do you change the environment or do you contribute to that environment? See, I've learned one thing. You know, people say to me, Ed, when you come in the room, we know. When I was the dean at Valor Christian College and I was one of their professors, they said we always knew when Professor Ramirez was in the building. Why? Because I'm loud. Why? Because I'm excited. I love the music. I love to clap. I love to be happy. So when I would walk in the room, I would motivate. I would give them a firm handshake and pump my students up. My classes were always the loudest. They were always engaged. They were always, why? I'm self-aware. When you become self-aware of who you are, and you see that the environment is dull, or the environment is heavy, and you think, I'm the charge, I'm going to change this. And whether it's a joke, or whether it's laughter, or whether it's you find a way to communicate, and through communication, change the environment. See, sometimes I would have my students come in and they had to take a midterm or a final exam, and you could see the heaviness. And I would tell them, just close the book, stand up. And we would do 10 jumping jacks in the class. We would say some jokes in the class. We would get everybody super, super relaxed. And once they got relaxed, and I charged them with encouragement and motivation, then we went to do the task at hand. So find what's lacking and you be the charge. Infuse positivity, infuse energy into your team. Don't let your team dictate the energy in the organization. You as the leader, you dictate the energy in your team and in your organization. It is up to you. That's why I tell you, meditate, pray, set time aside, whatever you got to do, but the infusion of energy should always come from the top. If the top is motivated, the top is inspired, the top is on fire, man, the rest of the team can catch that fire. But if the top is heavy and negative and not happy and upset and screaming and yelling, then that's what you're going to transmit to your team. So you've got the control. Be the charger for that phone and charge your team to be full of energy and full of power. Take critique well. Oh boy. Take critique well. And an important part of increasing your emotional intelligence is to be able to take a critique. Instead of getting offended or defensive, high EQ people take a few moments to understand where the critique is coming from, how it is affecting others or their own performance, and how they can constructively resolve issues. Be honest, because not every critique is valid. Learn to take in the good and put aside what does not add value to you. Learn to improve, but don't allow negativity or bad attitudes to bring you down. See, we live in a world that everybody's so concerned about what everybody else is thinking. Come on. It's like everything around us is fake news, fake social media, fake everything. Because on social media, everybody presents the good part. You know, let me take a picture. No, let me take the good side. Because you don't want to see the bad side. And then, have you ever, be honest with me, have you ever seen somebody's Instagram and then you've seen them in person and you're like, I'm not going to criticize, but you know they use 1,000 filters. Because you're like, no, that is not the same person. Because we live in a world of filters. And we do live in a world that some critique is constructive. And I've learned to take critique well when it's constructive. You know, I learned from my pastor a long time ago, and he said to me, hey, let me tell you what your problem is. Your problem is you're trying to save the whole world and you're saying yes to la-di-da-di everybody. That's your problem. And I was like, you know, really, sir? How can you talk to me like that? But the fact is that you need those voices in your life. Because in taking on too much responsibility, I was failing because I was trying to do too much and it was beyond my capability of doing. So I took that critique, I applied it, and I learned how to say no. When something's not convenient, something doesn't work, I've learned just to say no. But then I've also learned that some people are going to criticize just because they're negative people. And you don't need to validate their feelings. If somebody's just being negative and somebody's just trying to bring you down, learn how to take the good, retain the good, and put aside the bad. Let it go. You don't need to respond to everybody, and you don't need to prove yourself to everybody. You know, be happy. I ask people oftentimes, what do you want? You know, it's very easy to do what everybody wants. But if you put yourself in a room, what is it that you want? What makes you happy? What gets you motivated? And when was the last time that you were honest with yourself? That you really looked at yourself and said, I'm doing that because it's expected of me, but it's not what I really want to do. You know, in taking critique, part of it is looking at yourself and asking yourself, how much of what I'm doing is because of the expectation that's been put on me? And how much of what I'm doing is because I really love what I'm doing and I really want to do what I'm doing? Be honest with yourself. See, and critique is taking that critique and getting to the place of self-actualization and getting to the place that you know who you are and you know what you want. You can't be everything to everyone. And you've got to learn that you will do your best, you will love people, you will serve them well, but you will never grow until you critique yourself and be brutally honest with yourself. So learn how to take critique, learn how to put aside critique that doesn't benefit you, and then learn how to critique yourself. That's number 7. Number 8, empathize empathize with others. Emotionally intelligent people know how to empathize. They understand that empathy is a trait that shows emotional strength, not weakness. Empathy helps them to relate to others on a basic human level. It opens the door for mutual respect and understanding between people with differing opinions and situations. Learn to look at things from other people's point of view to understand them, even if you do not agree with them. Until we know where they are coming from, we are never going to work toward an effective resolution. You know, one of the things I've learned, especially now, it's a political time. You're not going to agree with everybody. But you know what? Let me look at it from your point of view. Let me try to understand it. Where are you coming from? So that I can understand you. Now, even if I think you're looking at it wrong, at least I understand. And at least I can empathize. And at least I can relate. But the problem today is people don't listen to each other. It's my way or the highway. And if you got an opinion that differs from mine, you're my enemy. And that should not be. As an effective leader, learn how to empathize, learn how to respect, learn the strength and the weaknesses of your team, and learn how not to take everything so personal. There's going to be differences of opinion. There's going to be different points of view. Learn how to empathize, and don't just impose your view on someone and tell them it's my way or the highway. No, learn how to relate. Learn how to understand. You know, Dr. John Maxwell says, nobody cares how much you know until they know how much you care. And sometimes if we stop just looking at the things we disagree with, we will discover that there's a whole heck of a lot of things we agree with, and that our agreement is greater than our disagreement. But how is our brain programmed? Our brain is programmed to look at the disagreements first, and then we amplify the disagreements, and we never learn even agree to disagree and respect that person's point of view. You don't need to change their point of view. You just need to respect it and to understand it. And that's one of the things that I've done as a leader. I learned to respect people's differences of opinion and respect their point of view. And even if I disagree, at least I try to understand it, to know where they're coming from. Because this strengthens relationships and it builds your team. Because in the team, not everybody's going to be the same. I tell people, opinions are like fingerprints. Everybody on this earth has a special set of fingerprints. And not every fingerprint is the same. As a matter of fact, your fingerprint distinguishes you from everybody else on this earth. If you don't believe me, go and rob a bank, put your hand on the window so it marks your fingerprints, and then go and hide somewhere. I guarantee you that they will find you. Why? Your fingerprint is distinct to you. So are your opinions. So are your values. Let's learn how to empathize instead of always fighting. Let's learn to respect our differences. And when you learn that as a leader, my goodness, your organization goes to a different level, because people will say, we disagree, but even in disagreement, we're okay because there's mutual respect and there's mutual honor. Number 9, we're almost done. Utilize leadership skills. Emotionally intelligent people have excellent leadership skills. They have high standards for themselves and set an example for others to follow. They take initiative and have great decision-making and problem-solving skills. An effective leader is one that listens and then makes decisions that are going to benefit the majority of the team, even if a few may not agree with that. In a world of limited resources, you are not going to please everyone. However, you can try to bring people together toward a resolution, even if no one is getting 100% of what they want. And if you're married, you already know that's the equation. You're not going to get 100% of what you want. You got to learn how to compromise. You got to learn how to give in, give and take. So is corporate America. Utilize your leadership skills to find resolution. You know what? Limited resources. You're not going to get 100%, but I could give you 60%. Can we work with 60%? You know, 60-40. It's not always going to be 50-50. Sometimes it might be 70-30. You know, I've learned how to give in, because life is giving and taking, and a good leader has problem-solving skills. Some of these skills would be good even in a marriage for relationships. And number 10, be approachable and be sociable. You know, with my 12 years in the military, where people see me, they go, man, you got a serious face. Some people have told me I got an intimidating face. I tell them it's just 12 years of military, or just I'm getting older. But make sure you're approachable and you're sociable. Emotionally intelligent people come off as approachable. They smile and give off a positive presence. They utilize appropriate social skills based on the relationship with whomever they are around. They have great interpersonal skills and have to communicate clearly, whether the communication is verbal or nonverbal. When we practice being self-aware, conscious of how they interact with others, this helps to improve their emotional intelligence level. Being empathetic and understanding is essential to building solid teams within the organizational structure. I appreciate you. I thank everybody. Next week, we will finish the final session. And boy, do I have some good stuff. I got some stuff, Your Erroneous Zones by Dr. Wayne Dyer. Man, how many of us have grown up in a negative environment and we don't know how to break out? So next week, we're going to practice how to break out from negativity and how to build ourselves up to build our organizations and build those that are following us through a positive attitude, being constructive, building a team, and making sure that we fulfill the vision and the mission of our respective organizations. So I want to thank everybody for joining me, and we'll be back next week on Thursday, 12 noon. Make sure you register, and I thank everybody for being a part of this. God bless, and talk to you soon. Bye-bye.